Ambassador Jean-Paul Cartran, dear friend, honorable members of the panel, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I'm honored to be here amongst you and also an associate of Crown Montana Forum for some years, many years now. And throughout these years, I've seen too many people, statesmen and women, scholars, activists, members of the private sector, politicians, citizens, who have joined hands as a result of the opportunity that this forum has provided and have made collective efforts to make an impact on the world that we are living. Ambassador, you mentioned about the end of the Cold War. That was a dream for millions or hundreds of millions around the world. Perhaps they would see it as an end of too many challenges. But we entered a new world, which you also refer to some aspects of it, that we see a disorder rather than an order. And we are here to listen and also to contribute how each one of us can make sure that we do everything in our hands to make it a better world. It was like a personal story, like 38 years back, when our country was under Soviet occupation, and I was participating in the demonstrations in the university, and I was thinking that this might change our destiny. But it is 4 decades since the troubles in that country, in Afghanistan, has continued, and I will refer to that briefly later on. We have too many challenges today. Climate change was talked about, and as it was referred to in the UN report, climate apartheid, which the countries, underdeveloped countries, countries with little or less resources, will be the main victims and will be affected by it dramatically. Some dramatic examples were earlier talked about by esteemed representatives of small island countries. We have conflict, we have zero-sum games, we have proxy wars, we have rise of terrorism, extremist ideologies, extremist nationalist ideologies, xenophobic ideologies, we have prospect of cyber warfare, we have migration. So these are, to name it, we have poverty. These are the challenges that humanity is faced with. But at the same time, there is another side of the coin. Distinguished President of Armenia mentioned the hopes and dreams of its people, which will be a global player, in spite of the fact that it's a country of much smaller size than the superpowers of the world. When I hear that Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation contribute billions of dollars to eradicate polio, this is the other side of the story today. Or the young girl from Sweden, Greta Thunberg, in her drive to have an impact on the climate change, to make an impact. And then followed by hundreds of thousands of young children and boys and girls around the world. Or Malala Yousafzai, a tragic story but the impact that she made on access to education and free education for the children of the world. Just last night, I was sitting next to an entrepreneur which was talking about using technology and also an additive which will help reduce emission. Fuel is used everywhere, but if the emission is reduced in a significant percentage, it's a big contribution to better atmosphere. And the opportunities which new technology provides, high tech provides, are enormous. And the future of our world will depend on our collective decision and to make it a better place for the future generations. Those who leave their marks in the history will not be the politicians which are known to be very stubborn. They are digging their feet on every aspect of the life or politics. But those who recognize their responsibility towards the current generation and are able to act responsibly and with the courage and humility, those are the ones which will be remembered and can leave their marks in the history. The ability to make compromise, it's a strength. Coming to our, I promise that I'll try to be brief and I'll make my best efforts. And in Afghanistan, it's 4 decades that the war has continued. In a few months' time, we will going to have elections, in spite of all the challenges that we have, security and otherwise. And we hope that we have good elections and free and fair elections, because we think that it will help, it will contribute to stability in our country, into the strengthening of our institutions. At the same time, there are efforts for making peace, supported by the United States, which absolute majority of the people of Afghanistan want peace in that country. The absolute majority of the people support just and durable peace. But unfortunately, the war is being opposed on us. I mentioned a few names which have contributed to the betterment of lives around the world. In our country, countries of the region, as well as our international partners, they are supporting Afghanistan, which we are grateful to them. But around the world, if you look at it, if you put it on balance, are there more worries and concerns versus hopes? It depends how we look at it. That's the same in our country. Millions of younger generation, Afghans, boys and girls, have received education. They have dreams for their country. And Afghanistan has the potential to contribute not only to the well-being of its own people, but to the region as well. Potentially, it's a rich country. And remembering those stories, and a photo of a small boy in the furthest part of the country, in a very isolated part of the country, 5 years old at that time, 3 years back, which was a fan of football. And he has found a plastic which resembled the uniform of Lionel Messi, and put it on. And later on, Messi had received that boy. And so you see that there are hopes even in the furthest parts of the world. And I want to subscribe to the message of our opening session, that security requires mutual respect, trust, and loyalty between nations. With this, I thank you.